Hi, mamas. We are here with Elaine Tan Comeau, and she knows the ups and downs of being a mom entrepreneur. She's a sought-after keynote speaker, author, and CEO and founder of Easy Daisies, which looks amazing, by the way, which I need. And she went from being a school teacher to accidentally inventing a children's product. It was launched off her kitchen table right after her third baby was born. You're amazing. And she went to CEO and founder of one of Dragon's Den's favorite pitches, Easy Daisies, which incited a bidding war among all 5 dragons, which that doesn't happen very often. So that's pretty amazing. She was the winner of Kevin Harrington's Pitch Tank, and she has been featured in Forbes, CBC, Fox, CTV, Canadian Business Magazine, Parents Magazine, and that's just to name a few. Elaine was awarded the 2014 Canadian Mompreneur of the Year, Chamber of Commerce Award for Excellence in Business, and a 4-time nominee for the RBC Women of Influence Award. Has multiple articles published in several editions of the university textbook, Educational Psychology. Elaine, wow, that's quite the bio, and there's even more there. She's written a book. She's amazing, and thank you so much for taking time today to teach us a little bit about managing the chaos in the morning. Can I just say I need that in my life? I have 6 kids and trying to balance everything in the morning. What can you give us? We need all the tips, because I feel like I've tried everything and I'm still going, come on, get your shoes on, brush your teeth, getting them out the door.
Cece, you are amazing. Mom of 6, my goodness. And I have to say, first of all, thank you. I'm so honored and thrilled to be here, very humbled to be here. And we are here to learn from each other, and we are absolutely stronger together, because it does take that village to raise children. And so let's learn from each other's mistakes and lift each other up. And so I'm just so thrilled to be here. So thank you.
Thank you.
You are so right. That's such a great question. Like, how do we calm that morning craziness and stop the nagging? And there was a survey that was done for 500 moms, and they gave these moms 5 different time slots, saying which of these 5 times of the day is the most stressful. 97% chose 8:35 a.m. as their number one stress time, because that is when you're getting people at the door. That's when you're hearing, I need you to sign my planner, or Mom, I need 400 muffins for the bake sale today.
So true.
And it's crazy. And there they are sitting in your car with pajamas on, but it's all good. No one's bleeding. It's all good. And I can sum it up in 5 points. And may I share my screen? And I'm an absolute visual person, so I'm just going to share a little slideshow thing. And there's my crazy computer and my family. And I'm just going to close that. And then I am just going to show this. And the morning is a very important time of day for a family, because it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And, that's something I wish I knew earlier on, when I had my 3 children who are older now, but I know now. And so I always make sure that morning is very important for all of us. And I'm just going to show this. We are all super moms, because we do everything. We are the care provider, the teacher, the nurse, the cheerleader, the chauffeur. We are the project manager. I always tell my husband, I'm actually the CEO of 4 companies, not just
so true.
I'm the CEO of Abigail's Life, Justice's Life, and Naomi's Life, because I have to plan everything for them and make sure everything is smooth and successful for that person.
Yes.
So we need to know, how do we help these little people or bigger people be that awesome human being, right? And we want to be that example for them to live a life worthy of being copied. And I always say, let them see you fall and cry, Mom. And they need to know that life is not perfect. It is not perfect. And that's why I love the name of this conference, Imperfectly Perfect, or and
Confessions of an Imperfect Mother. Yes.
yes,
Yep.
right. And for them to know that life isn't going to be perfect. Life is not Instagram. It is not just going to be snapshots of beauty and perfection. It isn't. It is going to be finding a diaper in the toilet or or pajamas in the toilet. Who knows what you'll find there?
Yes.
And it is letting kids know, our children know that we as a human mom will make a mistake and we will say sorry, and we also will learn from something that we go through because we took the risk to figure it out. We want to build little life risk takers, right? So 5 strategies is what I want to share to having that super morning. And being a former school teacher, of course, I put it into an acronym of super, and that S is for sleep. Sleep is so important because it directly links with our mental and physical health. And study after study will show like different amounts of sleep for a kid. So for example, toddlers, they say that toddlers should have up to 12 hours of sleep. And don't worry about these numbers. Just use it as a guideline if you're actually writing it down. It's a guideline. They say that children between 3 and 6 years old should have between 10 and 12 hours of sleep. And that's including naps, of course. And children in the school age group of 7 to 12, they say they should have 10 or 11 hours of sleep. And those teens, which is my house right now, is they say 8 to 9 hours. And we laugh because we see them wake up and roll out of bed at 1 o'clock. And for the younger children, it does happen. They will eventually sleep in. Don't you worry. But you see, for teens, it's different because their I think it's called the circadian cycle, which is their sleep and wake cycle, is later. And that is just the way they work. So don't be yelling at them when they're still up at 11 or midnight. It's natural for them to have that desire to go to bed later. And so don't worry, you're not doing something wrong, Mom. It is just biological, and that is what happens. But sleep is very important in our young ones, especially because that is when they will show, studies will link that the effects of lack of sleep will affect with allergies and obesity, of course, academic performance, their mental health, their anxiety, their depression. And, let's help them to be successful in their day by starting the night before and helping them to get to bed. And I'm going to talk about strategies for that after. The next one in the letters here is the U, and that means up before the kids. You know what? Your mental health, Mom, is so, so important. Mm-hmm. And that means it does begin with you and giving you some time of quiet in the day. And it might be, you might say, oh, it's kind of sucky that I have to wake up earlier, but yes, you will be so happy. You will be so happy. My husband will always joke with me and say, why are your showers so long? Because that's my alone time.
That's the only time you get to yourself. That's why.
I know my kids when they were young, I don't know how they learned to break open a locked door, but whatever.
Either the locked door or the fingers under the door. You're gonna get one of the two.
It's so funny. But so I suggest you wake up an hour earlier, enjoy that first hot cup of tea or coffee. I am a coffee drinker, and oh my goodness, it's just so nice. And, and whether you have meditation time or thank God for your day, have some you time. Like if you're reading a book, oh my goodness, you will enjoy that, because when you have that first hour of the day to yourself, you are going to be really happy to see your children, and you will greet them happy instead of rushing them out of bed and being angry. Right? The tone that you set is going to be the tone they feel right away. So when you're anxious and angry and frustrated and on them right away, that is what they're going to carry, that anxiety into school, into the rest of their day. So take care of you. Have this time by getting up before the kids.
I love that.
The P is for prep the night before. If you want to have an easy morning, it starts the night before. And that means laying out their clothes, or they could lay out their clothes. And, they're never too young to start. And so have them help you, and they can choose what to wear the night before, because that will take away a lot of the stress in the morning and one less battle in the morning. And so that also means making lunches the night before. So if you're putting dinner away and your kids are taking leftovers, great, do it right then. Make your sandwiches right then, since they're in the kitchen and they should be helping anyways with clearing the table. They can also take out what needs to be made for lunch, and so that helps too. So prep the night before. That means homework is done tonight, done, and it goes right into the bag, the school bag, so you're not looking for it. It's not forgotten. You don't get a 10 a.m. phone call saying, Mom, I left my something at home, because it's all in the bag, except for lunch, which probably is in the fridge, which is great and fine. So yes, and I always ask my kids, is there anything that you need for tomorrow? Because the last thing we want at 8:35 in the morning is one of our children to say, Mom, I have a bake sale today, and you have to bake 24 cupcakes. No, no, thank you.
I laugh because that's happened.
I laugh because I've done that too. I've been on both ends as a school teacher, and that poor mom who's like, I'll be back before
Yeah.
and all good, all good. But and it's okay. It's okay to tell the teacher that it just didn't work, and that's okay. Please take care of you, Mom. You don't have to say yes. Learn to say no, and it's okay. It's absolutely okay. E is for easy access. If you want your mornings to be easy, you don't have to be the slave to every single person in your household. If they are able to walk, they want to help. And so this is actually a photo of the inside of my cabinet and my kitchen, and it's like the island in the middle. So it is easy for any age. If they are 3 years old or if they are 17 years old, they can easily access the bowls and the spoons and the cereal. And I would even have milk in a smaller Tupperware container that they can pour. So I'm setting them up for success. I want to take the time to do that so that they can be independent. And because those 4-liter jugs of milk are pretty heavy, and of course they might spill. So let's set them up for success by preparing all this for them. And so easy access, and it goes right back, and they can help themselves. So just help.
I love that. That's a lot better than my kids jumping up on the counter and trying to reach in and get their own bowl. That just makes sense. I need to move the bowls down. There you go.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. And then the other picture there is actually our family control center, command center, of course, with my Easy Daisy's daily visual schedules there. But what I want to show is these baskets that I just got at Staples. And there's a lot of paperwork that comes back and forth, birthday invitations when they were allowed to go to birthdays. But of course, during this time, there isn't. But anything that's important goes in these. And I have 3 kids, so they each have their own container here. And then we know where notices go, and notices can go back to school. So and sometimes birthday invitations, things like that are important and easy
That's
for
so
them
smart.
to access.
I love that. Then it doesn't all end up in one big pile and then you forget about something.
Yes, and then it ends up in recycling, and oh my, right? And yes, been there, and we learn as we go. That's all we learn as we go. I also share a bunch of mom hacks on my Instagram at Easy Daisies or at Elaine Comeau. So please do check them out. There's so many easy things you could pick up at the dollar store. Like I show one that has like a hanging off the door shoe rack kind of thing where it has pockets. And each of my kids have a row there, and we have all our school supplies there that they would use for homework. So no one's asking me, Mom, I need a ruler, or Mom, I need pencil crayons, because it's all there and it goes back there. So easy to access, easy to find, and easy for them to start their homework.
I love that.
And R is for routine. Routine is key. Routine is what helps our children become independent and cooperative and successful. And if you think about this, this starts when they are infants. When we think about how do we get our kids to sleep through the night, our infants to sleep through the night, it's because we set a routine. Whether it is, we bathe them, feed them, lay them down, whatever that step is, those steps, it helps our infant at that point sleep through the night because it becomes familiar. They are secure. They feel safe because it's predictable. They know that if there's a bath time and then they brush their teeth, they go into pajamas, they read a book with mom or dad, and then the lights go out. And if that is consistent, it's like magic. A routine establishes that security for kids so that they do feel so safe, so secure, and watch the nagging melt away because they know exactly what is happening next. And no matter what age group our children are, even if they're 12, even if they're 16, routine is so important. So that morning routine is key. So when you say, okay, you know what, come down, changed out of your pajamas, have breakfast, and then run upstairs, brush your teeth, and grab your bag and let's go. If that happens all the time, that routine becomes second nature. Mm-hmm. Routine establishes good habits. It establishes lifelong habits. And why I have it visual here is 85% of learning for children is visual. And when we can show them, so you can draw your own, you don't need to buy Easy Daisies, but you can create your own. And so many households make a visual schedule because if they can't read, at least they can see what is happening next. And you know what? It gives them that safety and security. And study after study will show that children as young as preschool age benefit from visual schedules because they just cooperate better and become more independent. Executive functioning skills kick in. All of those are STEM and STEAM learning skills. So very, very important. And I can go on and on about routine, but I'm just going to throw in that visuals are key because 85% of learning is visual, and watch the nagging disappear.
Yes, I need that. That sounds amazing. Just give them something to look at and to just say, oh, this is what you need to do. Check it off. And when those things are done, you're ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. That. Absolutely. And I just wanted to show this one slide here, which is the last of these slides. And then we can, I'll give the screen back to you, Susie, is I just want to remind moms, and we all know this song, Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes, Eyes, Ears, Mouth, and Nose. I want it as a two-part reminder. And one is, Mom, you need to take care of you because you are so important. Your health is so important. And, you know, when we go on airplanes, or when we were at least allowed to go on airplanes, they always say that, you know, if those air masks drop, put yours on first and then help your child. Because you know what, Mom, you need to breathe. You need to be healthy so you can take care of your kids, and they need you. The second one is, whenever you hear the song, I would love for us all to remember that our children do not expect us to be perfect. They don't need us to be perfect, but they do need us to be present. And what I mean by that is present with our whole body. That means to put the phone down, to not be scrolling on social media when our kids come home from school, but to look at them and to listen with our whole face, with our eyes, our ears, our mouths, our noses, so that they get all of us. And that is the last slide here. So I'm going to stop sharing that.
I love that so much. That's such a good reminder of just that. I love that head, shoulders, knees, and toes, because that's true. That's what they need, right? When they walk in the door, they want to see, oh, someone cares about me and someone loves me. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no, my pleasure. I always have this story in my mind that someone shared with me, and her 5-year-old came home from kindergarten and was so excited to talk to mom, and mom's like, oh, yes. And she's on her phone, and then her child's like, Mom, and then grabs her mom's face and looks at her and says, Mom, listen to me with your whole face.
Oh, I love that.
Always remember that, right? They want all of us.
Yes.
Every part of us to just look at them.
That's so amazing. So when we were talking about all of this, for some moms, it might feel a little overwhelmed. Like, how do I start? Where do I start? What's a good place for them to just start? Slowly but surely, what would you say was the most important? And I know you touched on routine, but where would you start them out?
Where would I start? If I had little ones and every morning is just a crazy nightmare, I would say you start the night before. I would say you start with one thing, whether it's, let's pick out our clothes. Now, some moms will say, well, bedtime is a struggle. I can't get my kids to go to bed.
Yes.
And, and if I can take age groups, and I'm going to say if they're little ones, and so let's just say 7 and under, for them, their concern is their fear of missing out. Like, what is going on? Are you going to have a party if I go to bed? Like, why do you break up the chips, Mom, when I go to bed? And why are you watching Netflix now and I have to go to bed? I don't want to miss out. And they feel like they're losing their power and their control when they've just learned the word no at the age of 2. Why are you all of a sudden their boss? And so yes, you are their boss. You are their stinking CEO. But you are there to help them be successful. So you will make that choice of bedtime, but you will also give them choices. So you're going to limit the choices, but you are going to let them choose which pajamas they want to wear, which books they want to read, so that they do feel some sense of control and power. And routine is key. Routine is very key. So remember when they were infants and you thought, okay, remember we have these steps, right? Of, okay, we're going to nurse them, bathe them, put them in a clean diaper, lay them down, whatever that step is. And you keep doing it because it worked.
Right.
You want to keep that for them, whether they're 3 years old or 8 years old, because they feel safe. Because sometimes when we just say, okay, go run, go to bed, and they're like, well, what about my book, or what about this? And it is an investment in our lives, but they are our life, in the sense of it's a blessing to have these kids as ours, right? One of the most beautiful words is mommy. It's like, wow, someone called me mommy. And I still remember the pain when it went from mommy to mom. I'm like, oh, I'm old now.
You're like, no. At least they're not calling you hey lady or something like that. That's good.
So you know what? It's worth it to take that time and say, hey, I'm going to keep this up because it's going to help their sleep, and their sleep helps their mental health. Their sleep helps their physical health. So let's do this, and put the phone away. Don't take the phone with you when you're putting them to bed, please. Mm-hmm. And it is hard, but let's remember these people, because they're in our lives and we are affecting how they develop. And so that routine is very important. So start with the bedtime. And, when you're in there, say, hey, here's another choice. What would you like to wear? And don't just leave that open-ended. Choose 2 things, Mom. Otherwise, you're going to be in there for an hour as they go through their entire closet. So say, hey, would you like to wear this or this? So limit the choices, but give them a choice. So I would start the night before. And that
yes,
was a lot.
I love that. And that's a good place to start, the night before. I like that. When was the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Kind of the same concept. So in your personal parenting journey, can you share of a time where you felt like less than perfect, but yet everything worked out okay?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Where do I choose? I'm going to take this one. And our words matter. Our words are so important that we put into our children, because if we moms can remember that what we say becomes their inside voice, especially when they need it most. And, I saw this even when I was a school teacher for 13 years, and I've been in education for 27 years. And I can hear my students when they come in, whether they're in kindergarten or grade 5, what their parents say to them, because that's their voice when they are frustrated and they're like, I can't do anything. I'm useless, or I suck, or I'm such a disappointment. They didn't make that up. They've heard it. And so I remember this one morning, I was it was a crazy morning, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but my son was frustrating me. So I have 3 kids, and my son's in the middle, and I wanted to say to him, "Why do you always leave your dishes out?" or something like that. I can't even remember what it is now, but I wanted to say something like that, because in my head it was like I was going to say, "Why do you always do that?" But I don't know what happened, and maybe it was because I prayed before, but I said, as I was just about to say, "Why do you always do this bad thing in my head, this bad habit?" For some reason, as I was saying them, it changed to something different. I said, "Why are you always such a good helper for mommy? You're just such a great helper." And you know what? I saw my son in a slouch position. And when I said, "Why are you always such a good helper for mommy?" which was not what I was going to say. Like, I actually like slap myself. I'm like, what? What did I just? And I saw his little shoulders go back, and he sat up so proud,
Oh,
so proudly. And he took his dishes, and he rinsed them, and he opened the dishwasher, and he put them in, and then he came and he gave me a hug.
oh,
I don't even know if I cried then, but but when I reflect on that, it showed me 2 things. I could have said what I wanted to say, which was, "Why on earth do you keep doing this? Why do you always leave your dishes out?" And his day would have been slumped shoulders. He would have arrived to
mhm.
school slumped down. He might have not put more effort into his assignment that morning. But because I said something to unfold who he really is, he is a great kid. He is helpful. And I need to remember that he is a super helper, because we all have crappy days and crappy mornings. And that caused his shoulders to go back. He may have opened a door for his teacher. Who knows? He may have
Yes,
tried a little harder.
it's that ripple effect for
It
sure.
is. It absolutely is. And so I just want to say our words matter. And, to learn to think before we speak, to be slow, and to be a fast listener, and to remember that our words become the inside voice for our children is, I will always remember that, because I saw his shoulders literally go back, and he was so proud of my put up, right?
I love that.
And put down.
They need that in their lives, a little more encouragement. And, it's hard not to criticize all the time. And especially starting their day, right? Like when mama's not happy, ain't nobody happy. And those words of encouragement and love in the morning can change their whole outlook on life and the whole day. So I love that.
So
Well,
yeah, it takes effort, right, Mom?
yes.
You can be so quick to say, "Oh my gosh, you spilled the milk again," or
Oh
"I
yeah.
told you not to." But to find a way to say, "Okay, that's okay. Let's just clean it up. It's just a mess." And yeah, like in my head, I'm like, "I told you not to do that." But to start their morning on a positive is great. That's why having our own time, then it's like, it's all good. I had a hot cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Yep, it's wonderful. Things are great. Well, Elaine, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. And I know I've learned a whole lot of things that I want to implement. And you have been a joy. And I can tell that you practice what you preach, and you're amazing. So thanks for joining us today.
And I'm honored, and thank you. And ladies, do find me. I have a podcast called Create Better, and it's all about helping moms and women entrepreneurs. And I'd be honored if you come and find me on social media, on Instagram at Easy Daisies, and it's spelled DAY, not the flower, because it's to help kids have easier days.
Very clever. I love it.
Thank you. And so thank you. I'm honored to be here. I wish you all everything wonderful.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rich Christensen, and through the years of entrepreneurship and growing crazy businesses, I lost a view of what was really important. Through a series of really tender experiences, my mentor taught me you can replace anything in this world, but you cannot replace your family. So I made a dramatic pivot and started embedding deeply in my family some of the same principles that applied to business. My wife and I began very deliberately parenting. We looked for models, how not to mess our children up. There were really no good models to teach values, to entrench family unity, and to make sure that the values passed on in legacy to my children, and more importantly, my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So like every great entrepreneur, I secretly created my own models. I was very hesitant to talk about it, but a few of my closest friends saw the impact that this was having on my children. I decided to take the processes that I used and create an online course so others could also work with their families to create tighter bonds, build confidence and self-esteem, while constructing a gorgeous legacy that they could live on past our lifetime. With this 5-part digital training series, you'll find the single most important lessons of thought leadership that I've ever created. There's 5 critical parts to this series, each with its very unique function. The first is symbols, creating unifying symbols that we all can touch to. Second is the doctrine, the guiding principles that we can tag and understand what the rules are. The third is the traditions or the rituals, where we actually formalize and we unite and show that we're unified with the values. The fourth, my favorite, the defining life events. The final section of this is the structure. What do the really wealthy families do to preserve their wealth and to pass on in the form of family banking? To pass on how you appropriately set up the will and how you embed your family constitution so that these values permeate and pass on. I can tell you firsthand that taking these steps to create a beautiful life for my family is the most important work that I've ever done and also the most rewarding. I would invite you to learn some of these principles, unify your family, bond them, and take some of the guesswork out of this. And I'm going to provide you the framework to make that happen with this 30 years of life experiences. So join me, get your membership to build family legacies today.